It's mailbag time here on the Raiders Report. I'm Mitchell Renz, and I'm answering all of the nation's questions. If you're like, hey, Mitch, how do I get my questions on the show? You got to use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat when we go live on Thursday Night Football. No matter what game it is, I like to pull up here on Thursday Night Football, hang out with the nation, have a few drinks, have a few laughs. It's a good opportunity for me to get to know y'all to get to know me. So use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Panda Sups. During football season, I put on a few LBs. I don't know about y'all. After that loss to Carolina, I went home and I ate away my sorrows. But you know what? During the week, I try to stay on point. I try to stay in good shape. Use code Raiders for 20% off at pandasups.com to get your hands on the best workout supplements on the market. Let's go to Jerry Danley. Do you think Tom Telesco is a jinx? When he was GM of the Chargers, key players been hurt. Now he is our GM and our key players are hurt. I actually don't think that he's a jinx. I don't know if I even believe in jinxes. Like, I believe in the Pokemon jinx. I'm a big Pokemon nut. But at the same time, though, if you want to talk about jinxes, go look at the Browns injury report. Like, the Raiders are banged up. No doubt about it. They're banged up. But the Browns, they have way more injuries, more impactful injuries than we do. Now, this is the injury report that was released on Wednesday. I know that the Raiders have a few extra players that ended up getting added to that. But for Cleveland, they're super banged up. If there's anything I got to nitpick right now on Tom Telesco, it's his inability to be aggressive. I'm not somebody that likes to sit back, right? I think in life, in general, especially in the NFL, you got to be able to go out there and get what you want and do what you want. If Telesco's been a little bit too reserved for me right now as a GM, which in the past, he's been overly aggressive, where I feel like this offseason he's been hanging out back a little bit too much. I want to see him go out, spend some money. Now, if they're telling him not to because they're planning for the future, that's one thing. But then I'll also say this, if you plan too much for the future, you might not be around next season. Let's go to Chance. Mitch, I know you're high on Cam Ward, but I don't know, man. Y'all are lighting it up in Miami, but I always get nervous with the QBs who springboard for one-year quarterback. I'll look at this. I look at how a quarterback improves. I look at how a quarterback commands an offense. I look at how does a quarterback command a room, especially when everybody has all the eyes on him. And Cam Ward, for me, checks off a lot of boxes. Now, can he get better at taking care of the football? I wish he went up against a little bit better competition this season. But at the end of the day, when you watch how Cam just handles himself, how he gets a bunch of receivers involved, how he's not afraid to make different switches, different changes. He can make every throw on the field. There's a reason why I said Cam Ward is the quarterback that I want the Raiders to draft. Now, he might win the Heisman. I'll tell you this right now. I put money down on Cam to win the Heisman, and it's been growing and growing. I liked what I saw out of Washington State, and I said he kind of reminded me a little bit of Jaden Daniels, a QB. When Jaden was at Arizona State, you were like, why the hell is this guy at Arizona State? He's clearly more superior, but got better and better and better. You've already seen Cam Ward. Cool, calm, and collected dude. A lot of talent. It's getting better and better and better. I'm a big Cam Ward fan. Let's go to Jared Duran. What's up, bro? Will Myles Garrett play this week? I think that he is going to end up playing. Now, I talked to our Browns host here at Chat Sports, and he was kind of giving me some of the ins and outs, and he's got multiple injuries right now. He's dealing with like an Achilles something, a thigh injury. He's 3 different injuries, but he did practice on Thursday, and the fact that he was able to go on Thursday tells me that he's probably going to be out there ready to rock. And, you know, if I'm Maxx Crosby, these are the type of matchups that you probably live for, because if there's any player out there that I would say might be better than Max, it's Myles Garrett. And I think Garrett is a credible player. Luke Getsy in his press conference on Thursday said Myles Garrett is the best defensive end in the National Football League, which I didn't love because, to me, Max is our guy, and I don't want our offensive coordinator saying that guy's better. And he might not even realize what he said, and it's probably the case. But as soon as he said that's the best guy in the NFL, in my mind, I was like, well, wait a minute. What about Max? I think fully healthy Max, with everything he does in the run game, everything he does against, getting after the QB, I'll take Max over Myles Garrett, which might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to ask the nation here, and we're going to get some Browns fans that watch this video as well. Who do you think is the better defensive end? You're building a team right now. Are you taking Maxx Crosby, or are you taking Myles Garrett? And when we do these shows, I want you to answer honestly. If you put MG, that's your honest opinion. I'm not going to get mad at you. Nobody should get mad at you. But I'm going to take Mad Max. So let me know down in the comments. You're about to get it with the YouTube ad break. Scroll on down and give me your answer. Let's go to Nabman here. Dallas' season is over if they lose today. If so, who goes on the market from Dallas before the trade deadline? Dallas has really struggled being able to find a defensive tackle, and I don't think that their season is totally over. But when you look at the Cowboys' schedule, right, it is not an easy schedule, and if they don't win today, you could see some people in Dallas maybe on their way out. I mean, think about this. If they lose to the Giants, right, and I'm filming this on Thursday, they're 1-3. You got the Steelers, the Lions, the Niners, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Texans. Those are your next 6 games. Dallas, I'm telling you right now, that is they need to win this Thursday night game. Now, if they end up winning it, either 2-2. If they're 1-3, it could get pretty chaotic in Dallas, which I am all here for. Let's go to Edgar Gonzalez. What's up, man? You think Getsy will be on the booth this game? I hope. Put him up in the booth. Luke Carroll clearly can't see the game the way that he needs to see the game on the sidelines. And this isn't a 3-game sample size thing. And it's kind of where I'm kind of getting annoyed sometimes with some Raider fans that are like, Mitch, you're saying all this crazy stuff about Luke Getsy, fire him here, fire him there. It's only been 3 games. It hasn't been, though, guys. Like, it's been over 2 seasons with Chicago, and it's with the Raiders. He's doing the exact same thing. He schemes very well for that first drive, can make no adjustments from there on out. The Raiders are putting up garbage points. If the Raiders don't put up garbage points against Carolina, if the Raiders, and again, they had that great comeback against Baltimore, but if you take out those garbage time points against Carolina, you're looking at one of the worst offenses in the NFL. If I'm Antonio Pierce, I go, Getsy, I understand that you want to be on the sidelines, but get your ass up in that booth. Now, if you love the Raiders, hit that subscribe button. If you bleed silver and black, hit that subscribe button. I'm a diehard Raider fan. I was not born a Raiders fan, and I have no problem telling people that. I think the one cool part about the nation is it is a family atmosphere to me, and I am a Raiders fan not because of any player. I'm not a Raiders fan because of the coaches. I'm not a Raiders fan. The only reason why I am a fan, it's because of the nation. It is the most loyal people that I've ever met, and I'm a trustworthy dude. I come from the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, and I will trust and I will believe in you, and I will think that we are friends until you give me a reason not to. And the nation, time and time again, always pulls up, and they always show out. Speaking of loyalty, what up, Nabman? What if I were to send the owner of the Tennessee Moonshine Company your contact info? Test that out. Would love it, Nabman. I mean, the only thing is, like, we'd have to get it approved to make sure that we're allowed to drink it. And if we're allowed to drink it, like, that's what I want Thursday night shows to be, where it's, you guys, if you have a product, even if you make your own beer and you want Jeremy and I to try it, I would do it. Seriously, I would try it. I want to be able to show more love to the loyal watchers here. That's what Thursday Night Football is all about. Young, what's up? We should have picked up Justin Fields and never signed Getsy. They should make Marvin Lewis the OC. I don't think that Marvin Lewis would be the right pick for OC. To me, there's 3 other coaches on this current Raiders staff that has OC experience. I put out a video earlier in the week about fire Luke Getsy. It's the video that says fire Getsy, but then if you look at the very bottom of that thumbnail, it says that there's some other OC candidates out there that I would rather have right now than Getsy on this current Raiders team. I know that Justin Fields said that the Raiders were a team that contacted him, which that's been 100% reported. It's something that we talked about. Again, Champ Kelly was a part of the Bears regime that ended up recruiting Justin Fields, ended up drafting him in Chicago. We obviously have Luke Getsy, who's been with Justin Fields. I'll say this right now, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers depth chart, Russell Wilson was listed as the QB1 this week. Now, I don't know if he's going to end up playing. I think that they're going to end up sticking with the Fields for the long run, but if it gets to a situation where the Raiders' offense is really struggling still, even with Aiden, even with Gardner, and if Pittsburgh goes to Russell Wilson, keep an eye out for Justin Fields. That's all I'm going to say. Jerry, after 3 games in, do you think we can still finish as a top 5 defense? I do not. And I would have never said that the Raiders would have had a top 5 defense if I would have known that Malcolm Kuntz was going to be out for the season, if I would have known that Maxx Crosby was going to be dealing with a high ankle sprain, if Marcus Epps were to tear his ACL and be done for the year. You're hoping right now that the Raiders finish somewhere around a top 15 defense, and they can still get it together. They're still taking their lumps here, and there were some guys making business decisions up against Carolina, but you're about to learn a lot about Antonio Pierce. You're about to learn a lot about the players. If you can't show up and if you play bad, against the Browns this week, coming off of the game that we just saw against Carolina, I don't know if I want you on my football team to begin with. If you're not fired up with your head coach saying business decisions, if you're not fired up about the media trashing you all week, if you're not fired up about even your own fan base really doubting this Raiders team, if you're not ready to play against the Browns this week, then quite frankly, you either A, not good enough, B, you don't give a shit. And I don't know if there's any other ins and outs there. That's how I feel. Now, before we keep on answering some more questions here, shout out to Panda Sups. Man, they pull up 4 years in a row now sponsoring the Raiders Report. It's owned and operated by a diehard Raiders fan. If you're trying to get some of the best protein, some of the best pre-workout, some of the best BCAAs, I'm talking this. Like, if you're somebody who's genuinely trying to get into better shape, I want you to go try Panda Sups. And if you're somebody who's like, man, there's a lot of proteins, I don't know what I want, let me say this. It's 30 grams of protein per scoop. You're around 140, 150, 160 calories. It is a sweet protein. They make different ones. I'll say this. If it's chocolate, you're probably going to want to mix that with a milk. If it's some of their other protein, like the fruity ones where they have a strawberry, a pineapple whip, I think those are delicious actually with water. It's kind of refreshing in a way. It reminds me of when Alex takes me to the Mexican market is how I would say it. It's a supermarket down here in Dallas that is nothing in English, and they have like all those like different drinks where it's like agua frescas. It's next to the, what's the one that's like rice? Horchata. There's like horchata. There's one that's like the melon. They have a BCA that literally tastes like, it's like the honeydew melon or the cantaloupe melon drink that you get at some of these like Mexican markets. And it's super refreshing, super awesome. And I drink it a lot down here in the summertime because, you know, you don't really think about it when it's 110 degrees and you're outside running around, you're doing your thing. You get dehydrated really easily. I've been using Panda Subs for a long time, and you guys probably can tell. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But, like, during football season, I'll put on 25 to 30 pounds every single year. It's what I do. It's just because, you know, the shenanigans that we do. And then as soon as the season's over, I'll be able to cut 25 to 30 pounds. And I know that I can do that. I come from a wrestling background. But then it's also that ability to eat healthy, drink the right things, take care of your body. Panda Subs has awesome, awesome stuff. I talk about them all the time. They also have a bunch of apparel as well if you want to get your hands on some hats, some t-shirts. Their new tactical backpacks are really dope. Pandasubs.com. Use code Raiders, 20% off. That link's available to you all down in the comments and in the description of today's mailbag. All right, let's keep it on rocking and a rolling here. What up, Can't Get Right? Scott, hey, Mitch, is Crosby going to play? Much love and respect to the nation. I don't know, okay? And I'm filming this on Thursday. I've been talking to Max's team. Maxx wants to play. And that's the thing. If Maxx wants to play, and if it's up to Maxx, he's playing, okay? I promise you this. If that team looks at him and goes, Maxx, do you want to play? His answer is yes. He's told me that he wants to play. But they are looking at it from a longevity standpoint of when you have a high ankle sprain, there is the risk of further injuring multiple different things. You know, your ankle's not as strong. Puts more stress on your knee. Puts more stress on your hammies. Puts more stress on your quads. Puts more stress on your hips. Puts more stress on your other leg. And their concern is he's the best at what he does. So if you have another injury that can pile it on, you don't want that to happen. I'll say it's a coin flip. But if it was up to Maxx, he's playing. Let's go to LVLA Oak. What up, man? Mitch, who is someone not named Devontae Adams, okay, that you could see the Raiders trade at the deadline? I'll say Colton Miller is a name just because he's got $0 million guaranteed on his contract left, and the Raiders really like what they have in DJ Glaze, and you know they do like Munford, even though he wasn't a part of the regime that they drafted. Here's another name that I'm going to throw out there, and it might get me some hate, it might not, I don't know. Andre James. I know that Andre James just signed a 3-year extension, but when you look at his contract, they can get out of it. They can trade him away for how bad he has played with James Craig, for how bad he has looked this season. They like Jackson Powers-Johnson a lot. And, you know, this has been a topic that, you know, when the Raiders first drafted Dylan Parham, I would put Dylan Parham at center. I think Dylan Parham is a smarter player than what James is. I think when you watch his tape, you can tell Parham is a lot more alert. I think he can read defenders a lot better than what James can. James just filled the Carmen Brasilla role a little bit better. But then you also have Jackson Powers-Johnson. JPJ might be the best center that we have on our team. The bottom line is we're going for a name that you don't know about or maybe that you don't think about. I'm going to say Andre James is the name that I could see being dealt away at the deadline. And the New York Giants, I'm telling you right now, are absolutely a team to keep in mind. What up, Chance? I would be extra cautious against Cleveland. I'm not very optimistic with the Raiders getting a win. Here's the most honest thing I can ever tell you. I'm never confident or optimistic that the Raiders are going to get a win. Until this team can show me week in and week out that they are going to play at a decent level, I'm always going to be a little bit worried. But here's the thing. Cleveland fans are saying the exact same thing that you're saying. They're saying we gave away a lot for a quarterback in Deshaun Watson, a guy that's probably the most hated player in the NFL, if I had to guess, and he's been really, really bad. They also have a ton of injuries, so, I hear what you're saying, and every Raider fan probably agrees with you. If you're really confident going into a week, you might have to, check yourself of, I got to take a little bit of a humble pill here, and we got to realize that it's the Raiders. But both teams are in the same exact shoes. I'm hoping that the silver and black come away with a win. What up, Weston? Is it time for the Raiders to bench Zamir White? I think it depends. If it was up to me, I would start Alexander Mattison over Zamir White, so I guess maybe that answers your question there. But, Zamir just needs confidence. Zamir is running scared. He's running afraid to fumble the football. He has horrific vision right now. I mean, according to PFF, Zamir White is the worst running back in the National Football League. He is ranked 51 out of 51 eligible running backs. But what really scares me about Zeus, and the reason why I probably would end up benching him, is he's been just terrible in pass blocking. He had one or two good blocks this past week against Carolina, but Alexander Mattison is not a more athletic running back than Zamir White. He's not a more talented running back than Zamir White. Zeus is the most talented back that we have on this roster. It's just his inability to pass block, his inability to be able to make the right read and cut upfield and get north and south. Again, we're doing zone blocking schemes. Zeus does not fit that at all. I think that it might be time to consider, really just leaning more on Alexander Mattison. And quite frankly, I can't even believe I'm saying this, you might have to look to the free agency market because the Raiders have legitimately maybe the worst running back room in the NFL right now. Who is the best Raiders running back? Let me know down in the comment section. Do you think it's Amir Abdullah? Do you think it's Zamir White? Do you think it is Dylan Laube? Maybe you think it's Zeus. Let me know your thoughts, who the best Raiders running back is right now. What up, Young? We should trade for Budda Baker. Again, I think that there's other safety options that you could look at. I personally would look at Patrick Peterson. I know he's up there in age. I know people, when I say that name, they think a corner. But think of Patrick Peterson as this day and age as Charles Woodson, where Peterson has been a corner his entire life. And when Peterson was at his peak, he was one of the best corners in the NFL. Let's not get it twisted. But now that he's getting older, he's lost a step. Played pretty well at safety last season with Gerald Alexander, the Raiders' current safety coach. Alexander was in Pittsburgh. Personally, I would look at a guy like Patrick Peterson. It would be a lot cheaper, though Budda Baker is an upgrade. But it's also like Jeremy was saying all offseason, why not go get Justin Simmons? Justin Simmons at $8 million a year? Yep, sign me up for that. What up, Dave? Do you want the Raiders to draft Shedeur next year, also like Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, Quinn Ewers along with Ward? I think Jackson Dart's a good college quarterback. And if he gets an opportunity in the NFL, to be honest, I think he's going to have a very, I don't want to say Stetson Bennett because Stetson Bennett's a shithead. From people that I know at Ole Miss, Jackson Dart's a much better, he's got a better head on his shoulders. But he's a Colt McCoy. He's a Sam Ellinger, a QB that is a good college quarterback. I don't think it offers you a lot at the NFL level. Shedeur, I don't want, if I'm being honest. Now, if you told me Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, or Shedeur Sanders, I'm going to take Shedeur Sanders every single day of the week. I do think he's a quarterback that deserves to get drafted in round one. But Shedeur is a me guy, and I want a leader. Quinn Ewers has all the talent in the world. He's kind of like Jay Cutler to me, but he's got a lot of injury concerns, and he can't stay healthy. So to me, all the names that you mentioned, it is Cam Ward, and it's not all that close. The other QB that I would love for the Raiders to get, Jalen Milroe. He's somebody where I think he could turn into the next Jalen Hurts, a player that humble, good leader, not the best passer, but if he puts in the work, and you can see another guy getting better and better and better. Go back, look at the tape for a Milroe throwing the football last season early on at Alabama. Alabama didn't trust him to throw the football, just like Oklahoma and Alabama didn't trust Jalen Hurts to throw the football. But when you're a guy that you're going to get better, Milroe's one of those dudes. that's somebody that I would look at. Now, if you're not going to tune into our watch party on Sunday, shame on you. If you're going to the game, that's a good excuse. If you're not, pull up here to the Raiders Report. It's going to be the #1 most watched Raiders watch party on the internet. That I can promise you. The game is blacked out literally everywhere in the United States, not in Cleveland. And then I think it's in like Bakersfield, California. It's going to be blacked out. But we're going to silver and black out, and hopefully we can get a win. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got those notifications on, and make sure that you pull up. It's going to be a fun time.